So a CVL is a Creditors Voluntary Liquidation. This is a formal insolvency procedure. This involves the directors of an insolvent company voluntarily choosing to bring an end to the company by winding the company up. Although we know this process is voluntary, it's often a result of months of financial hardship, and the possibility of returning to being a successful business is negligible. Although it's not ideal, for an insolvent company which has no practical future, voluntary liquidation via a CVL, in most cases, is the best solution for all involved. Basically, a CVL is where the company's assets are liquidated, and this allows them to pay creditors. This is normally initiated by the board of directors, and it's normally when the company becomes insolvent and it's near impossible for the business to recover. So ideally a director should at all times have an idea of the financials of the company. So really they should be talking to the accountants and getting up-to-date reports so they can monitor the position of the company. The insolvency practitioner, or IP as they're known, will liaise with creditors and take the appropriate actions to realise the company assets. This normally allows us to make a distribution to outstanding creditors if the funds allow it. In respect to the assets, these normally are independently valued, marketed and sold as we are able to. The insolvency practitioner is also in charge of submitting the necessary reports to the government departments. They help with managing employee claims and also distributing available funds to creditors. There is a set order of priority when we distribute funds to creditors, and this is per the Insolvency Act 1986. The order of creditors is that initially you have the secured creditors, so they will be people who have a fixed charge registered on the company's house. Following that, you would have the ordinary preferential creditors. These usually are employees, and their claims relate to arrears of wages limited to £800 and arrears of holiday. Next on the list you'd have secondary preferential creditors. This is now HMRC, and that relates to outstanding VAT, NIC and employee PAYE. Following that you have the floating charge holders, so these are where the charge is registered at the company's house. Part of it will be fixed and floating. The floating charge comes here. After that you get the ordinary creditors, which is everyone else. That's the trade and expense, the customers and any residual employee claims. A bounce back loan and those sort of liabilities with the bank, they form part of the ordinary unsecured creditors. Firstly, directors have more control, unlike a compulsory liquidation, which is where a creditor petitions to the court for the company to be liquidated and the official receiver is appointed as liquidator. In a CVL, directors have more control as they can able to choose when the company enters liquidation. They're also able to choose their own choice of liquidator, and they're also able to provide a history to creditors explaining how the company got into this situation. They're able to fulfil their director legal obligations. Under the insolvency law, directors are legally obligated to be aware of the company's financial position at all times. By placing the company into CVL, they've limited creditor losses and the assets of the company may have more value. The director may be able to claim redundancy. Most directors don't know that they can claim redundancy pay when the company is placed into liquidation, although the directors do have to fill certain requirements. These are that a director has worked as an employee for the company for at least 2 years, they've received a salary under a PAYE, and they've worked a minimum of 16 hours per week in a practical rather than an advisory role. The directors are then able to claim the same statutory entitlements as a member of staff. Another point for a CVL is that the debts are written off. Once the CVL has been finalised and closed, all unpaid company debts are written off. This means no more creditor pressure and enables the directors to usually move on up to other endeavours without this burden. Well, this is often a question we're asked by creditors, and the answer in most cases is yes. I'll run through a few quick common scenarios which should help you understand this point. So, where a new business is started by the director of the company, it's a completely different name, and the director is not required to do anything further. If a new business is started by the director of the company and they wish to use the same or similar trading name as the insolvent company, the director first has to purchase the goodwill of the company, and depending on when the new company started trading, they either send a notice to all creditors notifying them of the purchase, or they have to apply to court to be given permission and notify all creditors. One of the only times when a director cannot start a new business is where they've been disqualified to act as a director. This is usually as a result of the report submitted by the insolvency practitioner, which contains evidence that the director has not complied with the statutory duties to the Department of Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, and this contains evidence that the director has not complied with their statutory duties. I would say the most useful advice would be to regularly keep up to date with the company's finances and get advice from their accountants. Once referred to an insolvency practitioner, what we will do is ensure that we look at all possible options to turn around the company. A director can also contact an insolvency practitioner to request advice on how to save costs. As insolvency practitioners deal with companies from all sectors of business, they usually have a unique insight which may help the companies survive turbulent times or mitigate the losses incurred. Of course, there are other insolvency procedures to turn around the company. Further details of these insolvency procedures can either be found on our website or by contacting one of our offices.